Good evening, listeners. This is All India Radio Cuttack. Come winter, Mangalajodi becomes a bird's paradise. There are birds of every hue. Avinash Khemka has captured those magical moments in his coffee table book recently published, The Magic of Mangalajodi. Tarun Kanti Rout speaks to him to know his experience in the bird's world.
Welcome to our studio, Mr. Khemka.
Thank you so much, sir.
What prompted you to write such a beautiful book? It's not a book, it's a visual journey, Mangalajodi, the magic of Mangalajodi.
Sir, I was always fond of nature and forest and natural beauty. In 2012 January, I happened to visit Chilika with my family, and when I asked a local guy over there that I want to see birds, so he told me if you want to see birds, go to Mangalajodi. I reached Mangalajodi at around say 3 o'clock in the afternoon in January 2012, and I was mesmerized by the natural beauty of the place, by the presence of lakhs and lakhs of birds there, by the unique habitat, the wetland of Mangalajodi. And while I was going in a country boat, suddenly thousands of birds in a flock would rise from the waters and darken the sky. It was as if love at first sight.
The way you have written the soaring away on the or soaring across the skies we have come, the way you have invited birds, the way you have invoked them rather, that has been purely magical. How could it happen?
Sir, after January 2012, I started visiting Mangalajodi again and again and again. And in 2013, July or August, I came in touch with a lady from Bhubaneswar named Panchami Manu Ukil. She's also a very avid birder and she writes extremely well. She's a gifted writer. So we used to go together to Mangalajodi. We used to talk about Mangalajodi. And every time I used to go Mangalajodi, I felt that I should not go back. I wanted to stay there forever. Once she came up with the idea that why don't we have a coffee table book on Mangalajodi? It was her idea. Every year I would spend more than 30-40 nights in Mangalajodi during multiple visits. Initially I went in winters only. Then I understood that during breeding time of the birds, that is from April to August, their colors, their feathers, they change. They undergo transformation. So I started going in April, May, June, July, August also. Then I also started going in September, October. So I have been to Mangalajodi in every month, every season.
I mean, you have invested a lot of time in Mangalajodi.
Yeah, I have spent more than 200 nights in Mangalajodi.
But I tell you, Mr. Khemka, you have written that you have become a seeker of solitude from the age of 10 or when you were a small child. You wanted solitude, peace of mind.
Yeah, I love to, as I said, spend time in solitude and in the lap of nature. And Mangalajodi gave me the perfect opportunity to do so. And each time I would go there, I would simply start clicking the magical beauty of the place, the avian visitors, the resident birds, the migratory birds. And as I spent more and more time, then I found out the other aspects of the place also, like the buffaloes of Mangalajodi.
Yes.
Yeah. So the village Mangalajodi, it is a very quaint village, a typical village stuck in the time warp. Very simple people over there. The walls colored very in bright colors, and some of the walls painted in our local art.
Motifs, yes.
And then children they playing the old sports like lattu, other sports. So that's a very typical quaint village of Orissa, and the life the people lead over there.
You were a seeker of solitude, I agree. But when did you discover the art of photography?
In 2011 November, a friend of mine, he coaxed me to buy a DSLR.
Yes.
I bought one. He taught me some the basic tricks of photography. And then from January 2012, when I went first to Mangalajodi, I started going again and again. I started clicking photos. I started taking guidance from friends of mine. One of them, I should name him Amit Rane from Mumbai. He is my guru, he is my mentor. As more and more visits happened to Mangalajodi, it came to my heart that I should do something different. I started clicking landscape photos over there. I started clicking photos against the light, some creative images of the birds.
When you are saying that against the light, so that has become the reason for the silhouette that you have created?
Exactly. We chose the right spot, we chose the right time of the day, we positioned ourselves in the right way and waited hours and hours together for one shot. One particular shot in the book is a purple heron amidst purple flowers.
Oh, I have seen that.
At one point of time, I also did not know about the birds. Every bird was like a bird for me.
Yeah.
But as I delved deeper into the subject, I bought a Birds of India bird guide. Local people of Mangalajodi, they educated me. Panchami Manu Ukil, she educated me. And then see, egrets, herons, these are resident birds over there and they belong to the same family.
Yes.
Then there are number of migratory
birds.
birds which come in.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about a migratory bird, which you have mentioned, the black-tailed godwits. The pictures have been very sensational. But bar-headed geese from Mongolia, which caught my imagination, they fly using only less than 10% of the oxygen. And they come from such a long distance. How could you know that?
These bar-headed geese, they are known to migrate from Mongolia to Mangalajodi.
Yes,
and
yes.
while they do the migration, they fly over Mount Everest at around say 29,000 or 30,000 feet above mean sea level. And at that height, everybody knows that oxygen is say 10-20% of the oxygen which we have at sea level. So such a small bird, it withstands that kind of temperature, that kind of altitude and the oxygen level, and it flies all the way from Mongolia. There are many instances of
Then
birds.
there is a bar-tailed godwit which holds the record for the largest non-stop flight by any bird, flying more than 10,000 or 11,000 kilometers.
Yeah, it has been recorded. The bar-tailed godwit we usually get on the west coast of India, on the Gujarat side. In Mangalajodi or in Orissa, we get black-tailed godwit.
Yes.
But yes, bar-tailed godwit has been recorded to have the longest non-stop flight of around 10,000 kilometers.
Yes. And I like the way you started the book from the page 1 with a quotation from Marty Rubin. Every bird, every tree, every flower reminds me what a blessing and privilege it is just to be alive. Really, that is what your book is about.
It's absolutely true. Whenever I witness any species of animal or bird or insect, any moment I see a very natural landscape, I think that I am actually lucky, I am actually blessed to be alive and to be able to witness the natural beauty and biodiversity that is presented by Mother Nature.
Yeah, the beautiful and bountiful lap of nature, Mr. Khemka. And I liked one photograph, slaty breasted rail. It has no tail. It was looking so majestic in your book.
So that is another story. These crakes and rails, they live inside the vegetation. Very rarely do they come out of the vegetation
see.
out in the open. And I used to go there, sit down in the boat, wait for a bird to come out slightly in the open for me to have a clean shot, and I would bend the boat so that my camera and the lens go absolutely to the water level. So that I get a lower than their eye level shot.
Then the clamorous reed warbler looks so thoughtful in the book, and your sandpiper, marsh sandpiper, he was looking so meditative, and the spot-billed pelican also, that was a very strange and very sober-looking bird. But I like that naughty bird, which we used to call in our childhood days Sankhachila, and you have called it Brahmini kite. And that is perching on a mound, looking very playful. That's a beautiful bird. And there are so many birds. In one page I found there are so many birds. It looks like as if somebody has put some ink mark. It looks like that, but they are real. They are surreal, I tell you. And 248 pages. It's not a small achievement because each page contains a lot of information either through photographs or through writing. But the chiaroscuro section, which you have added to the book, that gives a very magical dimension to your book.
So, after spending 4, 5, 6 years over there, I thought, what new can I do? How can I present these birds in a totally new way? That is when I tried to shoot the birds against light. I tried many permutations and combinations, and then I came up with an idea, a particular setting, a particular time of the day. I positioned myself in a particular way, and I would wait for hours and hours and for one opportunity. In 4 days, 5 days, I would get one good shot. It teaches us patience,
Yes.
it teaches us perseverance,
Right?
and then it also teaches us perfection, the art of perfection.
Good. And the art of understanding the inner nature of bird, which are so beautiful, beautiful creations of God. And because you have not projected a bird as they are, you have given them the sandpiper was looking like this, or the Brahmini kite was looking very playful. I mean, that kind of character, that kind of uh, projection of looks, or giving that kind of look to particular birds is an art.
It's very satisfying when we try to do something different, and when we get a good shot and see it on the laptop, all the hardship undertaken for it, we simply forget it. And then we are again ready the next day to take even more hardship.
Right.
There are many such instances where I have gone in very hot summer, in very humid rainy season, in extreme cold at 5 o'clock in the morning, on a foggy day,
Goodness.
and I've lied down on kitchen, and I've soiled my clothes, I've soiled my cameras. Once my camera toppled into the water.
And also, you might not have got the food, the drink, all these things. Sometimes you might have also gone on fasting
Yeah,
because of the work,
yeah, what happens
the
is,
tight schedule.
because it's a very small village,
Yes.
there are 4, 5 places of accommodation over there. In the last 4, 5 years, forest department has come up with a very nice accommodation, but earlier there were only private accommodations, and they used to run from, say, October to February or March. And when I used to go in April, May, June, July, August, there was no accommodation available over there. Many a times I have slept in my car the whole night. I am a vegetarian, but I have slept in a fisherman's residence many a time.
And I have seen how you have sown small fish, shrimps. They are being sprayed for the sun to make it cured. Yeah.
Yeah. So the village people, they consume the fish and they also sell it for their living. So one day while I was roaming in the village, I saw a lady drying out the fish in the sun.
Yeah.
So that was a moment for me to capture and portray in the book.
Thanks a lot for recounting what you faced, going through the mud, the entire night, maybe waiting for the birds days on end, and not getting the perfect shot, compiling all those. It's not a coffee table book, in my point of view. It's a book with a purpose, and it gives us a glimpse into the workings of inner mind of birds. The way you have projected them. So nice of you for being with us, Mr. Khemka. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Pleasure is entirely mine, sir.
That was a discussion with Avinash Khemka on his recently published coffee table book, The Magic of Mangalajodi. It comes to you from All India Radio Cuttack. Now stand by for our next announcement in Odia, which follows in a short while from now.